Hey everybody, I'm Ryan Harmon, and for several weeks y'all have been asking me if I could go over the chords and the licks. I knew this would happen, so today that's exactly what we're going to be doing. Grab your guitar, and if you've got a capo, that's going to help a lot, because like a lot of songs I write, we got a capo on the first fret. If you don't, no worries. If you want to play it with bar chords, I'm going to give you as much information as I can to where you can hopefully pick up your guitar and figure it out pretty quick. And if you don't have a capo and you just want to follow along with me and play the same chords and the same fingerings as I'm playing, you can just drop your low E string down to D in standard tuning, and of course you can play the song in any key you want. It's not going to hurt my feelings if you don't do it the same way as me. But I don't claim to be a music teacher. If I was, I'd owe you some money, but the least I can do is just explain what I did and the way I did it. It's going to be pretty simple, because that's the way I like it. I hope y'all do too. So let's see how it goes, and let's get started. Okay, so first off, just going over the chords to the song. Again, I've got capo on the first fret. Standard tuning, low E string is dropped down to D. But if you don't have a capo, or if you'd rather play bar chords, I'm going to give you the chords so that way you can hopefully pick it up and get started. So if you want to do bar chords, we're doing E flat, C minor, B flat, and A flat, if you want to stay with exactly how the song goes. But you can play this in any key you want. If you need to move the capo around to get a key that's better for your voice, it ain't going to hurt my feelings if you don't play it exactly like I play it. I'm just going to give you what I can to help you get started on it. That's basically what we're doing today. But going over the chords, you've got D, which I lit your D, which was, again, low E, now it's D, low D, A, and your high D. Those all are open. And then you just fret on the G, B, and high E strings like you normally would for a D chord. So that's what you've got. That's your D chord. The G is a little different. I don't spell it out like you're really supposed to. What I do is I've got my third finger that's making the G note, and I have the A string muted with my third finger. The D and the G are both open, and I'm fretting like you're supposed to on the B string, and my index finger is muting the high E string. Now that's not really something that I thought about. It just kind of happened that way, because the way that I transition between licks and chords, that's just how that chord ended up being made whenever I was playing the song. I don't put a lot of thought into it. It's just what works for me to play the song. You know, I kind of think whenever I'm writing a song in my head, I'm hearing all of these different parts and different instruments. And so as a solo acoustic act, I have to figure out a way to play all those different parts and make sure that all of those little nuances of the song are able to get out there to the audience, and they're able to hear all these little things. So some chords and some licks you'll find sometimes, I don't do them the right way, but it's what works for me to play the song. But again, feel free to, if you want to play it a different way, if there's something that works better for you, by all means do that. But that's your little bit of a variation on your G there. Now B minor, that's just plain and simple. That's really straightforward. That's the way that I learned it, the proper way that I learned it. There may be some people who have different ways of doing it, but that's the way I always learned it, so just a straightforward B minor. The A is a little bit different for me, because the way I always learned it was you fret with your second, third, and fourth fingers, and you let the high E string stay open. But just again, for moving around the neck, it was a whole lot easier for me to just bar that with my index finger. So I've got the A string open, but the D, G, and B strings, I've got my index finger barring those. Now it also ends up barring the high E string, but I don't pick that. I just leave that out when I'm strumming that chord. But other than that, that's the only variation there, so that should be pretty straightforward on the chords. Now for the little licks that I do within the chords, and they're not so much licks as they are hammer-ons and pull-offs. There's a hammer-on with the D in some parts of the song, and you can hear it. So for instance, and the little lick I do going into the first verse of the song, it's on the A string, the D string, and then now your low D. So what we're doing is going. So if you couldn't tell what I did there, you got your open string, and I went 2 frets, open D, and then I slid down from 4th fret, and this is in terms of if you don't have the capo. 4, 2, open. So it's a pretty standard lick. A lot of people use stuff like that all the time. So when we go into it, it's Here We See. And That's the only thing there with that D is that hammer on. So you got it open high E, hammer on, and then you're going to pick the B string for that D. So it's the G stays pretty standard until we start getting later into the verse where I hammer on, go the fret before the chord, and hammer on to the chord. So I'm going, and that's it. That's it, just on that low D. That's the only thing I do with the G in the song. And with the B and the A, this more so happens in the outro to the song and the going into the verse from the chorus. So what I do with the B minor, is you have your chord spelled out, but what I'm doing here is I'm taking my second finger off and then hammering on to that, so it's, and then picking the G string. And then I go here to the A, and I'm doing a pull-off. So I'm going one fret beyond the A chord. Again, that's regardless of if you've got a capo or not. Just one fret beyond the A chord on the B string. Pulling off of that and then picking the G once again. So it's... That's what happens with the chords in the song. It's hopefully pretty straightforward, and again, it's not perfect, but it's what works for me. So that's the chords, and next we're going to go into a couple of the little licks you hear within the song that I've been asked about quite a bit. So let's get into the licks. All right, well, now that we've seen what's going on with the chords of the song, let's look at this lick that people are asking about, the Tell Me Do Your Tears Fall Like Rain lick. And I've had a lot of people who have noticed that that wasn't in every version of the song. Of course, it's in the version that you heard on American Idol, but it's not in the single version that I put out with the full band production. And more than anything, I guess the reason why I left that out of that version was just because we already had a lot going on with lead elements in the song. We had lead guitar, we had fiddle, and so I didn't want to crowd it up too much. And then I've done an acoustic version of it where I didn't play it either. And that one, I don't know why I left it out, I'll be honest. I couldn't figure that one out myself. But y'all have made it very loud and clear that you want that lick to be in the song, and I appreciate that, I really do. So I'm happy to report that my next record that I'm working on right now is going to have an acoustic version of I Knew This Would Happen, and it's going to have that lick in there. So hopefully that'll make y'all happy. I sure hope it does. I appreciate y'all asking for it. But here's the way that the lick goes. It's very similar to what you hear in the intro, so I'm going to show you both of them just so you can see what's going on. Starting with the intro, you're going to have your bottom three strings, your low D, your A, and your high D. You're going to have those open. And now just kind of a back to basics thing in case there's any of you watching who are kind of just starting out playing the guitar. You would think that the string closest to you, the one closest to what you would think would be the top of the guitar, how you would look at it, you would think that would be your top string that's actually your bottom. So the way that it's counted, your high E is 1, your B is 2, your G is 3, D is 4, A is 5, and low E is 6. Now of course we've got the low E dropped down to D, so that's going to be your 6 here, is that low D. But anyway, with that, the way that we're going to make this lick is, just to make it simple, whether you're using a capo or not, you're going to take your A chord and you're going to go 3 frets beyond that on the B string. So you see where my pinky is? That's where we're going to start. And I'm going to start with my third finger. That's what I use to slide up with this. Now I've got my index finger kind of just barely muting that G string. And when you pick it like that, it sounds a little harsh, but you're not really going to hear that when you strum this. And what it's going to be is more of a percussive thing. So you're not going to really hear it like that. It's just going to add more of a percussive element to this lick. So starting off, we're going to slide 2 frets up, and we're going to pick the bottom 3 strings. So it's low D, A, high D, back to A. And then what we're going to do is we're going to go back, form your A chord again, and we're going to go the fret right next to it on the B string. Okay? So what we're going to do now is, you see the way that we had that before where our third finger was sliding up 2 frets? Now we're going to let our index finger drop back 2 frets. And we're going to hammer on twice. And then slide back again. So I'm going to do that one more time just so you can see the full thing. That's how you start the first verse. Now when you get into the chorus, it's built out of the A. So that's going to make it a lot easier to follow along. So that's one of the reasons why I bar this A chord with my index finger. So on the B string, again, you're going to start out the fret right beside the A chord on the B string. And you're going to go 2 frets up. I'll use my pinky. And then you're going to slide 2 frets over. And then you're going to make your G chord. Okay? And I let the A chord go when I slide up there. Okay? And then I just let it hang and come back and form the G, because your root note that you want to go back to is already in that G chord. So let's try that and just see how it goes here. Okay? Within the context of the chorus, it's... All right. Now there's one more thing that you might notice in the song that I don't think I've mentioned yet, and that's with the B minor chord. For lack of a better term, there's kind of a little extension that I do off of the B minor chord. And you've got it spelled out here. Of course, you got your index finger starting on the A string, and I take on the A string, go 2 frets up with my 3rd finger, and that's my little transition into the D chord. So it's... See that? And with that, I think that's just about everything we need to cover, so let's try getting into the song. Alright, well, let's run through the song and see how we do. Now, I'm going to have the chords coming up on the screen, so that way if at any point you get a little lost and you can't remember where we're going, you can follow right along with the chords. Let's give it a shot. 1, 2, 3, 4. Here we sit. All alone, without a single word to say. There was a time when that's how we'd wanna be, slow dancing while the music played. I saw that look there in your eyes, like there's something on your mind. Darling, won't you tell me, what could it be? The words must be too hard to find. Everybody goes through this, something you just can't fix. We're just wasting precious time. So if you're gonna leave me now, tell me, is it worth the pain? Tell me, do your tears fall like rain? If we're going through with this, do we settle for one last kiss? Honey, I saw it coming, but that don't make it right. I knew this would happen, just didn't know it'd be tonight. Here comes the second verse. Well, there it is. The final word. Well, I hope it gives you peace of mind. Oh, darling, I don't blame you, but you can't blame me, thinking that love couldn't be that blind. Just let me hold you in my arms, touch me with your gentle hands. For one last moment, you're still my woman, and honey, I'm still your man. So if you're gonna leave me now, tell me, is it worth the pain? Tell me, do your tears fall like rain? Here's the lick again. If we're going through with this, do we settle for one last kiss? Honey, I saw it coming, but that don't make it right. I knew this would happen, just didn't know it'd be tonight. Here's the bridge. Well, darling, wasn't worth the wait. Did you ever even hesitate? How long had you made up your mind? See how we're kind of muting and chopping there? Is there anything that you might miss? Can I go on after this? There's some things you just can't fix. Now this part we're going to play just a little quieter than the rest of it. So here we go. So if you're going to leave me now, tell me, is it worth the pain? Tell me, do your tears fall like rain? If we're going through with this, do we settle for one last kiss? Honey, I saw it coming, but that don't make it right. Well, I knew this would happen, just didn't know it'd be tonight. I knew this would happen, just didn't know it'd be tonight. Well, there it is, as I say in the second verse of the song, pun intended. I hope y'all enjoyed this, and I hope it's been helpful to you. And I've had people ask if I can do this for other songs, so we'll see. Y'all let me know in the comments if you want me to do any more songs like this, and we'll see what we can do. But thank y'all so much for all of the interest in this song, and thank you for requesting this video. And thanks again, as always, for all of your support. It means the world to me. And until next time, we will see you later. Say it with me, class. Shoo-wee!